The alarm did not sound like a warning. It sounded like fear. Across the Galactic assembly chamber, red symbols flashed over a single word. EARTH. Unstable BIOSPA Ambassador Lena Morrow stood alone inside a transparent containment field. Around her 312 alien delegates watched as if she were a bomb about to explode. Earth had just been labeled a Class Omega hazard world. Not because of war, not because of aggression, because of oxygen. To be clear, the Assembly AI announced, voice cold and flat, the human atmosphere is 21% reactive combustion gas. Murmurs spread across the chamber. The insectoid, K3, curled their legs inward, in visible distress. The silicon-based Threx dimmed their crystalline glow. The aquatic Olis flickered in their water spheres. For them, oxygen was corrosion, decay, fire waiting to happen. For humans, it was breath. Lena kept her posture straight. We are not a hazard, she said calmly. We are alive. A projection of Earth rotated above the chamber floor. Blue oceans. White clouds. Beautiful. Deadly. Your atmosphere ignites metal, a Threx delegate said. It accelerates oxidation on contact. Your very exhale causes chemical destabilization in 78% of known species. Correction, Lena replied, voice steady. Our exhale accelerates growth in carbon-based organic systems. Silence followed. The Chi-3 ambassador leaned forward. You are a walking reaction. And you, Lena answered quietly, are breathing methane? To us, that is poison. The chamber shifted. Perspective is dangerous. The assembly had expected a primitive species begging for protection. Instead, Earth had entered with trade offers. Compressed oxygen capsules, refined atmospheric canisters, stabilized reactive gas in sealed containment. At first, they had laughed. Now, they were calculating. Because oxygen did something strange in alien systems. In controlled microdoses, it enhanced neural conductivity. It supercharged energy matrices. It accelerated plant regeneration cycles by 300%. A molecule fared across the galaxy had become a miracle. And miracles create dependence. That was the real reason Earth was classified as a threat. Not because oxygen killed, but because it healed. And whoever controls healing controls survival. The assembly. Lights dimmed. A new projection appeared. A frontier system. 3 alien colonies. Failing biospheres. Your oxygen shipments restored agricultural output, the AI stated. Without human export, 4.8 million lives would have been lost. The numbers hung in the air. Life-saving. Life-threatening. Same. Molecule. The Threx delegate spoke again, voice sharp. This is unsustainable. A single species cannot control a resource this volatile. Lena already knew what was coming. Proposal for atmospheric replication. Proposal to synthesize Earth's level oxygen. Internally proposal to remove human leverage. But there was a problem. Had tried 3 different superpowers had attempted to copy Earth's atmospheric balance. Every attempt failed. Pure oxygen was unstable. Without Earth's precise mix of nitrogen buffering, trace gases, pressure control, and microbial balancing, it exploded. Literally. 7 research stations had been lost. Now, the galaxy faced a simple truth. Earth was not dangerous because of oxygen. Earth was dangerous because it understood how to live with it. The assembly AI paused. Motion introduced. Restrict human atmospheric exports until full safety compliance is verified. Gasps echoed. If exports stopped, millions would suffer. If exports continued, dependence would grow. Lena inhaled slowly. This isn't about safety, she said. This is about fear. The K3's antennae twitched. Fear? It repeated. Yes. Lena said. You are afraid that a species you once called primitive now controls something you cannot create. The chamber fell silent. She stepped closer to the barrier. We did not weaponize oxygen, she continued. But if you treat us like a weapon, we will respond like one. Security drones powered on, red lights flickered, and for the first time since humanity entered the stars, the galaxy wondered if Earth was about to become more than a supplier. The vote countdown began. And Lena realized something chilling. No matter how the vote ended, this was no longer about trade. It was about power. On Earth had just become essential. The vote failed. Not by much, but enough. Human oxygen exports would continue. With restrictions, with oversight, with armed escorts. The assembly called it shared stabilization control. Earth called it surveillance. Ambassador Lena Moreau stood outside the chamber, watching delegates leave in tight clusters. Conversations were hushed now. Controlled, measured. Measured? No. One looked at her directly. That was new. Dependence changes posture. Inside the human sector of the station, emergency transmissions flooded in from Earth's stock. Markets reacting. Medical colonies requesting reassurance. Private corporations asking if supply contracts were still secure. And deeper than that, Defense Command had activated Level 2 readiness. Not publicly, not aggressively, but quietly, because Earth understood. Something the galaxy was just beginning to see. Oxygen was not just a resource, it was infrastructure. Across 8 major alien powers, entire energy grids had been redesigned to include oxygen-enhanced reactors. Medical systems relied on oxygen infusion chambers. Agriculture sectors were dependent on oxygen-boosted growth cycles. If Earth stopped shipments, supply chains would collapse within weeks. But Lena knew something else. They would never stop it fully. That would be war. Instead, they would adjust it on Earth. President Nakamura stood before a council of scientists and generals. Begin phase. Subtle, she said calmly. No one argued. Across the planet, atmospheric refinement facilities recalibrated. Nitrogen ratios adjusted by fractions of a percent. Trace gases modified. Pressure stability curves altered. Ever so slightly. Not enough to trigger alarms. Not enough to violate agreements, but enough to change outcomes. The first signs appeared within 10 days. On the colony, world of Karathnine, oxygen-enhanced reactors began overheating more frequently. Minor malfunctions, maintenance issues, nothing catastrophic, but enough to raise concern on ULIS medical stations. Tissue regeneration rates dropped by 8%, still functional, but no longer miraculous. Trade ministers began sending polite inquiries, then urgent ones. Lena received the first official complaint from the Threx High Council. Your oxygen purity metrics appear inconsistent. She smiled faintly before responding. Our export standards meet all safety agreements. Technically true. But Earth had learned something crucial during its first years of trade. Oxygen alone was not the miracle. It was Earth's full atmospheric complexity, its bacteria, its humidity balance, its trace molecular dance. The galaxy had copied oxygen, but they could not copy Earth. And now they were feeling the difference. The K3 ambassador requested a private meeting. He did not waste time. You altered the supply. We optimized it, Lena corrected. You destabilized dependent systems. Dependence is unhealthy, she replied softly. His antennae stiffened. You are demonstrating leverage? We are demonstrating value. Silence stretched. Catherine leaned closer. Are you threatening the assembly? Lena's voice remained calm. No. I am reminding the assembly. That night, emergency signals pulsed across 4 sectors. A remote power station attempted to synthesize its own atmospheric buffer mixture. It detonated, not a nuclear explosion, but a massive chain. Oxidation event, metal turned brittle, structures corroded in seconds. Fires spread in oxygen-rich corridors. Thousands evacuated. No human ships were involved. No human action was taken. And yet, the message was clear. You cannot live with oxygen casually. Earth could dot. Earth had 4 billions of years. The assembly called an emergency session. Voices were no longer calm. What did you do? Demanded the Threx. We changed nothing illegal, Lena answered. Your adjustments correlate with system failures. Your systems were unstable. Anger filled the chamber. Fear filled it more. Finally, the ancient Veric energy being pulsed. Brighter than ever before. Equilibrium has shifted, it intoned. The oxygen breathers demonstrate controlled unpredictability. Controlled unpredictability. The galaxy understood. Brute force. It understood war. It did not understand subtle control. Earth had not attacked Earth. Had not cut supply. Earth had simply reminded them who truly understood the molecule, and now they were afraid again, but this time not of oxygen. They were afraid of humanity's restraint, because restraint means choice, and choice means power. In her quarters later that night, Lena received a secure transmission from Earth's Defense Command. Phase subtle successful, the Admiral said. She looked at the galaxy map rotating slowly above her desk. We are not escalating, she said firmly. Not yet. Outside her window, alien cargo vessels waited for their next atmospheric shipments. Waiting, depending, needing, and, for the first time. The galaxy was beginning to understand a terrifying possibility. If Earth ever truly weaponized its breath, there would be no defense. The sabotage did not begin with explosions. It began with silence. 3 oxygen freighters vanished in one standard cycle. No distress calls, no debris fields, no wreckage. Just gone, Ambassador. Lena Moreau stood in the emergency chamber of the assembly. As holographic projections flickered in red. Piracy? A delegate suggested. Unlikely? Lena said quietly. Human freighters traveled with escort drones. Encrypted flight parts. Redundant? Tracking beacons. You could not just make one disappear, let alone 3. The Veric energy delegate pulsed sharply. External interference detected at last signal point. A sector projection, zoomed in, neutral space, unclaimed territory. No official military presence, but that meant nothing. The Threx delegate's crystalline form glowed brighter. You staged this? He accused. To increase pressure? Lena's expression hardened. If we wanted pressure, she said calmly, you would already be suffocating. Silence crushed the room. She turned to the projection again. The ships had been transporting high-grade atmospheric balance mixtures, not basic oxygen. The advanced formula. The one only, Earth fully understood. If someone intercepted those shipments, they were trying to reverse engineer Earth's advantage. And, if they were reckless, they could destroy entire systems, trying on Earth. Defense Command intercepted a faint residual signal. A modified human beacon code. Scrambled, .cloned, somebody had copied their encryption? That's not possible, the intelligence officer whispered. It is now, Admiral Reyes replied. A classified? Emergency vote was held inside the assembly. Not public, not official. A joint investigation task force would be formed. But Lena saw what they were really thinking. If Earth was losing control of its own resource, maybe Earth was not as essential as they believed. Maybe they could replace humanity after all. 2 days later, the first proof arrived. A remote research facility in the Chi-3 outer belt. Exploded the blast, tore open its containment domes. Shards of metal drifted like frozen petals in space, cause of failure. Improper atmospheric buffering. They had tried to replicate Earth's mixture using stolen oxygen, without understanding the full equation. Over 12,000 lives lost, and suddenly, the galaxy felt very fragile. The assembly reconvened in panic. This is your fault? A delegate shouted. You created this dependence. No, Lena answered, voice steady but colder now. You created desperation. The Varric pulsed. Unauthorized human-level oxygen synthesis confirmed in 3 separate regions. They were all trying, secretly. Racing each other, trying to break Earth's monopoly, and breaking themselves instead. A private transmission arrived. On Lena's console. Encrypted. Unknown origin. She opened it. A distorted alien figure appeared. We have your ships, the voice said. Behind the figure one of the missing human freighters. Damaged. Docked to an unmarked station. You are destabilizing the galaxy, the voice continued. We will master the molecule without you. Lena did not blink. You don't understand it? She replied calmly. We will? No, she said quietly. You won't? The transmission cut. On Earth, Admiral Reyes stood before the Strategic Council. We can retrieve the ships. How? We don't retrieve them physically, Reyes said. He activated a secure command. Inside the stolen freighter, a dormant failsafe awakened every human oxygen transport vessel carried it. A micro-environmental cascade trigger. If core systems were tampered with, the atmospheric balance would shift, not into explosion, not into destruction, into corrosion. Slow. Precise, unstable, at the hidden pirate station. Technicians cheered as they extracted compressed canisters. Then the alarms began. Metal surfaces oxidized at impossible speed. Structural supports weakened. Containment seals degraded. Air systems destabilized. The stolen oxygen turned on them. Not violently but methodically, the station tore itself apart from the inside. Across the galaxy, similar incidents unfolded wherever stolen shipments had been opened without authorization. No massive war, no fleets, no bombardment, just chemistry, pure. Patient chemistry. Back in the assembly chamber, the reports flooded in. Lena spoke before anyone else could. We warned you, she said. We control the full balance. Not just the oxygen. The K3 ambassador lowered his head. You engineered failsafes into life itself. Yes, Lena answered softly. We engineered survival. And for the first time, the galaxy understood something terrifying. Humanity did not need to attack. They only needed to breathe. And breathing was something they were very, very good at. Outside the chamber windows, oxygen freighters resumed their routes. But now, they traveled with a different reputation. Not as suppliers, not as partners, but as the guardians of a force the galaxy could not master, and someone out there was still trying. Oxygen-enhanced reactors began shutting down, not exploding, not malfunctioning, just failing. Power grids dimmed. Medical regeneration chambers flickered. Agricultural biodomes slowed. The miracle molecule was no longer behaving. Ambassador Lena Moreau stood in the assembly chamber again. Energy being pulsed violently. Atmospheric destabilization wave. A new projection appeared. A massive stellar disturbance near the Perseus corridor, a dark ripple spreading through vacuum. Invisible, but measurable. The wave alters reactive gas behavior. The assembly AI announced. Alarms screamed. Earth's orbital refineries reported irregular atmospheric fluctuations. Nitrogen ratios were holding. Trace gases stable. But oxygen, Earth's natural breathing itself, could become unstable. Admiral Raya's voice came through secure line. We're seeing molecular agitation patterns. Natural phenomena. Patterned, that meant designed. The galaxy was not dealing with accident, it was dealing with intervention. A transmission burst through every major communication band. Unknown origin, no translation required. A visual message. A structure floating in. Interstellar darkness, huge dot, organic dot, almost alive. Around it, stars shimmered strangely. A mechanical construct. The size of a moon rotated slowly around its core. The message translated automatically. Oxygen is chaos. A pause. Balance will be restored. The chamber trembled with whispers. The Threx delegates spoke in disbelief. An anti-oxygen extremist faction. No, the Veric pulsed slowly. This is older. Data streamed across the central display. Ancient ruins discovered in deep space decades ago. The same symbol, the same molecular diagram. This was not a rebellion. This was an ancient civilization. One that had evolved without oxygen, one that saw reactive atmospheres as cosmic contamination. They are stabilizers, the AI concluded. They neutralize volatile star systems. By removing oxygen, Lena asked. By altering molecular bonding across large regions. In simple words, they were suffocating parts of the galaxy, not through war, through chemistry, on Earth. Skies flickered subtly as minor oxygen shifts rippled through the atmosphere. Not dangerous yet, but measurable. The human race had survived. Ice Ages. supervolcanoes. Asteroid strikes. But this was different. Someone was targeting the basic rule of their biology. The assembly erupted. We cannot survive without oxygen enhancement systems. We must shut down human exports. Maybe reducing oxygen dependence will protect us. Lena stepped forward. Reducing oxygen won't stop this, she said sharply. This wave doesn't care about trade. It's changing molecular constants. Veric pulsed with rare urgency. The stabilizers moved toward dense oxygen regions. All eyes turned to the projection. Earth glowed bright blue on the star map. It was the highest concentration of free oxygen in the known galaxy. Beacon.A target. For the first time in decades, humanity was no longer feared for its control of oxygen. Humanity was in danger because of it. A second wave rippled across nearby systems. Reactor shutdowns. Atmospheric collapses. Aliens began to panic. We must evacuate. We must destroy the structure. Our weapons cannot reach it. The stabilizer construct rotated again. Energy. Gathered. Another pulse was coming. Lena closed her eyes. Briefly, then opened them with steel in her gaze. Earth knows oxygen better than any species alive, she said. The chamber quieted. If they want to change oxygen's behavior? She looked directly at the projection of the ancient construct. Then we change it first. If necessary. Shock rippled through. Lena's voice was calm. We evolved in chaos. The second pulse hit. Across 5 systems. Flickered across starports, medical facilities scrambled to manual systems. The galaxy, for the first time since meeting humanity, struggled to breathe. And, far beyond the outer rim, the ancient stabilizers turned their attention fully toward Earth. The third pulse was coming. Earth had 12 hours. Ambassador Lena Moreau stood inside the human command chamber, orbiting her home planet. Around her, scientists, generals, and atmospheric engineers worked in absolute silence. No shouting, no panic, just focused art, because if they failed, every oxygen-dependent system in the galaxy would collapse, and Earth would suffocate last. The ancient stabilizers were moving closer. Another molecular disruption wave was building. Admiral Reyes looked at Lena. We cannot stop the pulse, he said. I know, she replied. So we change what it hits. Was the plan not defense adaptation human scientists had mapped the pulse's pattern? It interfered with oxygen's double bond reactivity. It destabilized free O2 molecules at scale. But Earth's atmosphere was not pure oxygen. It was balanced, buffered, alive, and humans had one advantage no alien civilization had ever possessed. They understood chaotic systems. Begin Project Deep Breath. Lena ordered. Across Earth. Atmospheric control satellites activated. Massive orbital refineries adjusted global nitrogen ratios. Trace gases shifted in precise micro-adjustments. Carbon dioxide levels altered by fractions of percent. Ozone concentrations. REBALANCED. The goal was simple. Not to protect oxygen but to teach it to survive the pulse. Engineers introduced controlled micro-instability into the atmosphere. A tiny amount, enough to disrupt the stabilizer. Wave's predictive model. The stabilizers expect of fixed chemistry. Earth would give them living chemistry. The galaxy watched in disbelief. You are destabilizing your own biosphere? Lena replied. On Earth, skies darkened slightly as upper atmospheric actions increased. Weather patterns shifted. Subtly, nothing catastrophic, but enough. The pulse hit from deep space, a silent ripple crossed stars, it slammed into Earth's atmosphere, sensors screamed. Molecular bonds vibrated violently, for 6 terrifying seconds. Breathing felt wrong. Across the planet, humans felt it. A pressure, a heaviness. Birds dropped from the sky. Ocean waves hesitated. Then, the atmosphere responded. The micro-instability, introduced by human scientists, disrupted the stabilizer wave. Nitrogen buffers absorbed shock energy. Trace gases redirected molecular resonance. Earth's sky shimmered, faintly and stabilized. In orbit. Alarms faded. The pulse weakened. Beyond Earth. In alien systems that had adopted Earth's modified buffer protocols, earlier oxygen systems flickered back to life. Agricultural domes reignited. Medical chambers restarted. The galaxy gasped, literally. Erratically, its next pulse failed to build properly. Earth had done something the ancient civilization did not expect. It had not resisted oxygen instability, it had embraced it inside the assembly chamber. Stunned silence. Rain. The Varic energy, being pulsed slowly. Human biosphere demonstrates reactive intelligence. Lena allowed herself one breath of relief. But it wasn't over. The stabilizers were adjusting. Ancient civilizations did not surrender. HFY, a new transmission flooded every channel. This time translated perfectly. Uncontrolled oxygen is corruption. Pause. You protect chaos. Lena stepped into frame. Yes, she answered calmly. Because chaos evolves. The stabilizer construct shifted its trajectory. Not away from Earth, toward it. They're committing fully. Admiral Reyes said. They see us as the source. Because Earth was not just oxygen, but change. The stabilizers had kept galaxies chemically stable for millions of years. No wild atomos partials. No volatile biospheres. No unpredictable reactions. Safe, balanced, dead. Humanity represented everything they opposed. A timer appeared. 4 hours until contact range. Earth could not outrun it. Could not outgun it. Weapons were useless against molecular level manipulation. Lena stared at the rotating structure. Then she whispered something no alien understood. Light it. Admiral Reyes nodded. Across Earth's orbit. Thousands of oxygen freighters shifted formation. Each carried stabilized atmospheric core. Each loaded with something new. An atmosphere model. The galaxy had never seen. Not controlled, not balanced, not predictable. Humanity was about to weaponize what it understood best. Not oxygen, not fire, but adaptation. And for the first time, the galaxy wondered if ancient stabilizers had made a terrible mistake. They had come to silence chaos. Instead, they had challenged it. The stabilizer construct entered Earth's energy built in silent layers. Across the galaxy, every sensor locked on. This was the final correction wave, a full-scale atmospheric neutralization pulse. If it hit Earth at full strength, quiet extinction. Inside orbital command. Admiral Reyes stood steady. Freighters in position. Thousands of oxygen carriers surrounded Earth in a vast sphere. Each one broadcasting atmospheric data. Each one loaded with the new variable mixture. Ambassador. Oxygen must be controlled, she said softly. They don't understand, it lives. The stabilizer fired. A wave unlike the others surged forward. Not a ripple. All sensors overloaded instantly. The galaxy held its breath. Then human. Freighters activated. They did not block the wave. They amplified it. Each vessel detonated its atmospheric orbit, not in explosion. In release. A massive outward surge of modified Earth atmosphere expanded from orbit. A living shield, not a wall. At storm. The stabilizer pulse collided with billions of tons of chaotic reactive gas. The effect was immediate. Instead of uniform the wave fragmented, it scattered. Humanity had weaponized unpredictability. The stabilizer systems attempted recalibration, but Earth's atmospheric model was no longer fixed. The orbital shield mixture contained microvariations, continuous instability, living chemistry. Every millisecond, bonding ratios shifted. The stabilizer algorithms could not lock on to a constant. Their ancient mathematics broke. The pulse weakened, then backfired. The scattered wave rebounded toward the construct. Its own systems, designed for perfect order, struggled under chaotic resonance. Surface plating began oxidizing. Internal circuits destabilized. The very force meant to erase oxygen was tearing at its source. Inside the assembly chamber, alien delegates stared in disbelief. The stabilizer core is destabilizing, the AI announced. No directed human weapons detected. They were watching chemistry defeat a civilization millions of years old. Not with aggression, but with adaptation. The stabilizer construct attempted retreat. But Earth's atmospheric storm followed. Human freighters adjusted formation. Pushing. Modified reactive gas. Outward in calculated waves. The ancient machine had never faced a biosphere willing to change itself. Mid-conflict, its core dimmed. Its rotation slowed. Then, it shut down. Not destroyed. Not annihilated. Neutralized. Floating. Silent in orbit. Across the galaxy, oxygen systems stabilized permanently. The ancient destabilization waves ceased. Human atmosphere returned. Slowly to baseline levels, freighters disengaged. Earth's sky cleared. Admiral Reyes exhaled first, then laughed softly. They tried to remove oxygen. Days later, the assembly reconvened. The stabilizer construct remained in Earth's orbit. Now studied, instead of feared. The Veric energy being pulsed deeply. You did not destroy the ancient stabilizers. No, Lena answered. They protect, balanced in their own way. Yet you defeated them. We adapted faster. Silence filled the chamber. The Threx delegate lowered his crystalline head. We feared your oxygen. The K3's antennae dipped. We feared your leverage. Lena's voice was calm. You feared our instability? She stepped forward. But instability is not corruption. She paused. It is evolution. The ancient stabilizer AI reactivated weakly. This time, its transmission was different. Oxygen. Another pause. Chaos. Accepted. The galaxy understood something profound that day. Humanity was not powerful because it controlled oxygen. Humanity was powerful because it thrived in systems that should not work. In volatility, in imbalance, in change. Earth was officially reclassified, no longer a Class Omega hazard world, no longer a biological threat. New designation. Adaptive core civilization, and oxygen, the molecule once feared across the stars, became the symbol of something greater. Not poison, not weapon, but proof. Proof that life survives, not by eliminating chaos. She thought back to the day humans had been sealed behind quarantine shields. Back when they were called contamination. Now, they were essential. Not because the galaxy needed their air, but because the galaxy needed their way of thinking. And, somewhere, beyond known space, other ancient forces were watching. For the first time in millions of years, they had seen something unpredictable, and unpredictable things change galaxies.